Okay, welcome everybody on our next webinar when I want to talk about the software and the software economics in the eMobility. So I hope everybody who wanted to attend is there with us. So let's start. Let's just discuss briefly the agenda for today. So first of all, I'd like to introduce myself and Solid Studio. I promise I'll be very brief. And then we can focus on what's really important on the today's session. So first of all, I'd like to describe the eMobility software in general. What are the different actors? What is their responsibility and how everything works together? So we are all on the same page about the software in theory in this field. Then I'd like to, from the very high distance, discuss different software purchasing options where we can highlight the most common ones and also introduce the new ones. And then we'll go one by one when we can discuss pros, cons, different pricing factors of SaaS custom solutions and the licensing, where the third one is a new model offered by the Solid Studio. In the end, I'd like to talk more about the total cost of ownership. So I prepared a slide where we can see how different models are looking from the total cost of ownership perspective within a 3 years period. Okay, so let's go and start with the brief introduction. My name is Paweł Małkowiak. I'm CEO and founder of Solid Studio. I'm running this company since 2017, and we are focused solely on the eMobility sector since 2018. That gives us quite enough years of experience in this sector. We are based in Krakow, Poland, hiring over 50 IT professionals. And what we do is we provide both services and products in the eMobility sector. Our goal, the future goal that I would also like to mention, is to become a leader in innovative IT solutions that supports the energy transformation. We all know that eMobility is very important actor in there, but we also know that it goes a little bit beyond just the eMobility. So we know that energy sector is out there and all different areas will have to work together to achieve the energy transformation. To give you some kind of overview of the clients we are working with, so we've got experience when working with the big corporations like OEMs. Volvo is one of the examples. Also, we are working with big and small CPOs and EMSPs, mostly across the Europe. Also, we have history of working with the industry leaders like Hubject and many, many more. Our products that we provide or that we build for our clients are up and running on 4 different continents and are used to charge EVs daily. Okay, now we can focus on the software itself. So of course, I understand that everybody already knows it, but I still wanted to be on the same page and just have very brief but clear separation between the main entities in the eMobility. So of course, we've got the charge point operators that are the entities that are managing the charging network. They're installing, leasing, or buying the land and making sure that the chargers are available for the EV drivers that are handled and managed by the eMobility service providers. So this is the entity that is more focused on the B2C and allowing the EV drivers to charge on the network managed by the CPOs. Of course, each of this role requires different software. In the CPO, we've got the charge point management system or CPMS. In the eMobility service provider, we've got most likely the white label mobile application that is standalone application for the EV charging or is a part of the greater ecosystem. But this is from the very high level perspective, but let's dive deeper because here I'd like to introduce the third extremely important role in the eMobility digital ecosystem, which are open standards. Open standards are the ways and means how different actors can talk to each other within this eMobility ecosystem. So of course, we've got the OCPP that sits between the hardware and the CPMS for the charge point operators. It allows to onboard any hardware manufacturer to the network, because how the charger talks to the software is unified. It's the OCPP protocol. Currently 1.6J is the most common one, but we see the transition and uptake in migration to OCPP 2.0.1, which out of the box allows for new features and the innovations like, for instance, plug and charge. Another extremely important open standard is the OCPI. So OCPI is the open standard that allows for different parties to talk to each other in the unified way. So when the charge point operator would like to open the network to the third-party EMSPs or internal EMSP, they can do it over the OCPI. OCPI allows for multiple peer-to-peer connections. The most common version is 2.1.1, but the newer one, 2.2 and 2.2.1, are for sure gaining the momentum, which I'm quite personally happy about, because in the OCPI 2.2 and higher, we've got way better handling of the session, which is very important. The digital ecosystem you can see on this view is very limited. So of course there are many other partners here. So first of all, we've got the hubs. The most common one, the hub jack that allows for the EMSPs and CPOs to be linked together over the eRoaming hub, supports the OICP. So this is and not yet another open standard. And the other hub in Europe, which is GREF, it allows OCPI based implementation. Of course, this is not strict OCPI, but some kind of variation of it. Nevertheless, this is also open standard based. Okay, so I hope it is clear and we can move forward, because the main topic of today's webinar are how you can acquire the software. What are the different options of acquiring the software, and what are the pros and cons of each of the solution. I'll be talking mostly about the CPMS, so the software that is used by the CPOs. Nevertheless, for the EMSP, we've got more or less the same trend. So in vast majority of cases, the principles are the same. So first of all, let's discuss the high-level view. So like industry paradigm, the way how the software is bought and sold in the eMobility ecosystem is SaaS, software as a service, where you can choose from multiple providers and have the head start when it comes to having your own software. On the total opposite is actually building something from the scratch, so the custom software development, where you can invest heavily from the time and resourcing perspective to build your own platform. Of course, nowadays it is possible to still do the custom software development, but using some commoditized products like OCPP or OCPI implementations that can speed up the development process. Nevertheless, the investment is quite heavy there. I'll go there in a second. And at this webinar, I also would like to mention the third option. So this is the business model. We are selling our software as a Solid Studio, which is the licensing, which we want to combine the benefits of both software as a service and custom software development. First, let's tackle the SaaS offering. So what it is and what are the main good and not as good points. So of course, software as a service allows you for very, very quick start. You can sign the proper agreement with a lot of different providers out there, and you can have your software up and running within most likely days, in the pessimistic scenario, weeks. You also don't have to worry about the software. So basically, this is ready to be used products, heavily tested by the clients on multiple markets, that is constantly developed and maintained and supported. Usually, the SaaS providers, they offer some additional services. So it's not only about the software. So you can imagine possibility to buy some SIM cards for the charging stations, provide first level of the support, and many, many more. Of course, the more services you've got provided by the SaaS provider, the higher the operational costs are going to be. So the main three cons of the SaaS that I'd like to tackle today are, first of all, the linear increase in the operational costs. So in the SaaS, you don't own the software. Also, the data ownership can be questionable. And the very simple arithmetics there is that the more hardware you've got under management, the higher the operational monthly cost is going to be. The other extremely important topic is the lack of competitive edge, because you are limiting yourself to what the SaaS got to offer. So even though you've got new ways how to acquire new clients, you've got new ideas how to actually ship innovations, it is very difficult because you are not in the control of the change management within the SaaS provider. Of course, there are better and worse providers that can give you a chance to do so. But even if you are working with the SaaS providers that will build a custom solution for you that gives this edge, you can be sure that the moment is live. It's also live for all the competitors that are using the same platform. So it's hard really to say that bringing innovation by the SaaS provider really brings the innovation only to you and builds the momentum. Also, the third, but very important, is the risk management. If you are the CPO and your core business is management of the charging network, the tool that is used to do so is not yours, then you are exposing yourself to huge risk. We've seen the situation before that the SaaS providers bankrupt or were acquired by the direct competitors. In this case, the need for the urgent migration is huge. And as I mentioned before, from my understanding, the core business of the CPO is the charging station management that is outsourced to third party. Last but not least, we need to talk about the vendor lock-in. Of course, it's not always true, not for all providers, but the bottom line is the more assets you've got under management and you build more and more business and operational processes around the software, the more difficult it's going to be to migrate from this provider, and you can find yourself in the situation of the vendor lock-in. Okay, and what makes this different SaaS price components? And yes, of course, there is a lot of different providers out there. We can see the new SaaS providers over like coming every month. But I think there are quite common different price components that you can expect. So of course, there is a setup fee that can be either voided or start with few thousand euros to even up to 100,000 euros. We've got the running fee, so basically some kind of flat idle fee just for the accessing the software. And the main price component is the EFSE fee. So the more per you pay per each socket, per each EFSE you've got under management on the monthly basis. And the price depends whether it's AC or DC EFSE. Personally, I find it a little bit not intuitive because, like, from the OCPP perspective, and the CPMS is connecting with the charging stations over the OCPP, it doesn't make any difference whether it's AC or DC station. My gut feeling is for the AC-based charging networks, there is more assets under management. So that's why per EFSE fee is lower in this case than comparing it to the DC. Usually, of course, it really depends, but you can expect anything between 3 and 10 euros per AC EFSE per month, and DC can go even to 15, 20, or 25 euros per month per EFSE. Last but not least, price component here is the transaction fees. This is not always true but we see more and more providers in actually getting some transaction fee pay per each CDR that's generated at this network. We can't also escape the topic of the additional and hidden cost. One very good example is OCPI fee. So there are providers that are charging per each OCPI connection you've got up and running. Also, like additional services like first line of the support or SIM cards are going to be additional costs added to your monthly bill. Okay, now let's go to the custom software development and discuss the pros and cons. But before we do it, I just like to tackle the question and present my my statement on this. Why ever anybody should discuss the investment for building something either from the scratch, license, or whatever. But why companies are looking in this direction to migrate from SaaS? Of course, like operational costs are one thing, but what I believe here is that we see that eMobility software is becoming more and more of a commodity. So we see that open standards are being better and better established in this ecosystem. And you can say that 80% of the software, both for the CPO and for the MSPs, are commodity. So we'll have the same functionality in each of the products. So OCPP is going to be the same, OCPI is going to be the same, as well as user management, tokens management, and many, many more. But still, there is this 20% that will differentiate you from the competitors. So maybe it will be about operational excellence, how you can integrate the software to your system, or maybe it is about how quickly and how well you can ship the innovation. Because in the closed ecosystem that you are fully in charge, shipping the innovation will always be quicker and better than when relying on the third party. That's why I believe, even though on the first step, like building the custom CPMS or EMSP can be not that obvious, I still would like to discuss it. So from building something from the scratch, there are quite obvious pros here. So first of all, you are in the full ownership of the solution. Once built, you are independent from any third party, and you can build your competitive advantage thanks to shipping the innovations quickly before the competition. Also, when it comes to taking a look on the operational cost side of things, in the long run, it should lead to huge OPEX reduction. What is also important, even though the capital expense is there, you are investing into your own company, so you can increase the valuation of the company thanks to building your own IP. On the other hand, we've got also quite obvious cons of the solution. So first of all, we've got big time and money investment. Also, you can think that you are reinventing the wheel, at least at some levels, and you need the IT department. It can be outsourced or it can be internal one. Nevertheless, ability to create the software will be part of your organization. To give you some kind of understanding about what kind of investment we are talking about, sorry, my bad. So let's just talk about the price components that are for the custom development. So the CapEx, the biggest one, is going to be internal or external IT department. And later on, we'll have the operational expenses for the running the software on the cloud, and later on maintenance and support. And to give you some kind of high-level understanding of what is the investment needed, I prepared some very basic charge point management system that on the one hand can talk to multiple hardware manufacturers by OCPP 1.6 or 2.0.1. It can also talk to hubs, Giraffe, Hubject, and to other third parties over OCPI 2.1.1 or 2.2.1. And internally, it gives you the very basic set of operations required for the day-to-day life as a CPO. So we've got the tariffs management, remote configuration, different different ways how to authorize the charging, and also from like how to do the proper user management for the operators to keep everything safe. I've also highlighted in yellow the commodities part, so things that you can actually buy from the shelf. At Solid Studio, we've got those components ready to be used as well. Even with usage of those components, we can see that's around 660 man days needed to complete this project. But when you want to build it from the scratch, we are talking about more than 1,000 man days needed for the investment. If we want to put this on from the team perspective, if we set up the team that can deliver the software as a full development lifecycle, so we are talking about business intelligence, UI, UX design, project management, DevOps, front-end, back-end development, and we can see that with the 7.5 FTEs, the time to market can be 4 months when using the commodities, or 7 when building things from the scratch. And please note that as mentioned before, this is quite basic CPMS, that will need a lot of more features later on. And usually the SaaS providers out there will have much richer offer to begin with. Okay, having said that, I'd like to introduce the licensing as a way to leverage both SaaS and custom software development. So this is the new business model introduced by Solid Studio, how we sell our both CPMS and eMSP. So first of all, we want to keep up with the SaaS when it comes to time to market. We'd like to offer software that can be shipped within the weeks, but keeping the benefits of the custom software development regarding the risk and data ownership solutions. The license is a perpetual license to use the source code commercially, but also manipulate it, so there is no vendor lock-in. On the other hand, Solid Studio is very happy to offer the services for the ongoing support and maintenance, so still we would like to keep the IT department as the optional department in your company, and be able to deliver the innovations to your version of this of the software quickly. From the finance perspective, we first of all would like to limit the capital expenditures for building something from the scratch, because the license is a friction of the expenses needed to build something from the scratch. And in the same time, you can have it up and running within weeks, not months or years. But also in the long run, we would like to limit the operational cost, because that would sit on your infrastructure with the simple software and infrastructure support and maintenance. To put this also in the better view from price components. So as mentioned before, we sell perpetual license to use and manipulate the source code commercially, but the only price component is actually one-time license fee. So we do not charge for this on the yearly basis. This is just pay once and use it forever. On top of this, Solid Studio is happy to provide the support and maintenance services for the software in the infrastructure. Nevertheless, those are much lower than the standard SaaS pricing components for this part. If we take a look on the total cost of ownership, I prepared some example. Of course, this is very basic example. That first of all, this is the CPO that is using 2,000 EFSEs, 2,000 EFSEs under management, and is using the SaaS provider. This is the green line. The SaaS provider is charging 20,000 euros for the onboarding fee, and then it's 7.5 euro per EFSE per month. So we do not have any dynamics in the increase of the EFSEs, and we can see that within the 3 years period that we see here, quarter over quarter, the operational cost for just having the access to the tool will be over €500,000. On the other hand, if we take a look on the licensing costs, I've put here 300,000 euros for the exemplary license. of course depends on the scope of the software, but let's discuss this option. And we've got here support and maintenance for the software and the infrastructure. We can see that the break-even points for the CPO with 2,000 EFSEs under management is just after 2 years. So after 2 years, we will see a savings between those two costs. And of course, the longer we go, the greater the gap's going to be. I haven't put here any dynamics about the increase in the EFSEs, but of course we all understand that to achieve the 2030 or 2035 goal, we'll need to increase our infrastructure greatly. So the more EFSEs under the management, the quicker the break-even point is going to be, and the greater gap regarding the operational cost is going to be later on. If you'd like to explore this graph a bit more, please feel free to use our website. We publish the CPO calculator in there, where you can put number of EFSEs you are planning to have, different price components you've got, and you can see if and how big the potential savings can be for when it comes to switching to the license. I'll be also sharing this presentation and materials used here, including the estimation of building CPMS from the scratch. So please stay tuned. And also, if you've got any questions about this or any other eMobility related questions, please feel free to contact Solid Studio. We'll be very happy to help. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. And that's it from me. Thank you.